A man in a $3,000 suit walks into Judge Caprio's courtroom like he owns the place. Six-figure watch, designer briefcase, the posture of someone who's used to being the most important person in every room he enters. His name is Marcus Wellington, and he's the chief executive officer of a major tech company in Providence. Annual salary, $2.4 million. Company valuation over $1 billion. He's here for a routine traffic violation, reckless driving and excessive speed. He expects this to take 5 minutes. Pay a fine, maybe get it reduced, and get back to running his empire. After all, he's Marcus Wellington. Rules are for other people. But as Judge Frank Caprio begins reviewing the circumstances of the violation, a high-speed chase through a residential neighborhood, nearly hitting pedestrians, aggressive behavior toward police, Marcus does something that stuns the entire courtroom. He gives Judge Caprio the middle finger right there in open court, on camera, with complete arrogance. What happens next isn't just about a traffic violation anymore. It's about a CEO who thinks his wealth makes him untouchable, learning that some authority can't be bought, some disrespect won't be tolerated, and some consequences are immediate and devastating. Hit subscribe right now because 97% of viewers haven't subscribed to the narrator, and this case proves why arrogance has a price, and why one gesture can destroy a multi-million-dollar career in seconds. By the end of this video, you'll watch a CEO's empire crumble, a company's board of directors take emergency action, and Judge Caprio deliver one of the harshest rulings in his courtroom's history. Here's the question: what happens when someone who's never faced real consequences finally meets accountability? Marcus Wellington is about to find out. Wednesday morning, 9:45 a.m., Providence Municipal Court. The bailiff calls Marcus Wellington. Reckless driving, excessive speed, failure to obey police commands. A man in his early 40s enters the courtroom with the confidence of someone who's never been told no. His suit is immaculate, clearly custom-made, probably Italian. His shoes shine like mirrors. Everything about him screams wealth and power. He doesn't walk to the podium. He strides like he's entering a boardroom where he's about to fire someone. Judge Caprio looks up with his characteristic courtesy. "Good morning, Mr. Wellington." Marcus barely glances at him. "Morning." "No, Your Honor." No respect, just a dismissive acknowledgement. Judge Caprio's expression flickers slightly. He's noticed the disrespect but chooses to proceed professionally. "Mr. Wellington, you're cited for reckless driving on Benefit Street, traveling 68 miles per hour in a 25 miles per hour residential zone. Can you tell me what happened?" Marcus sighs like this is a waste of his valuable time. "I was late for a board meeting. The street was clear. Nobody was in danger. The police report indicates there were pedestrians present, and you came within feet of hitting them. The police report exaggerates. People weren't paying attention. I had control of my vehicle." Judge Caprio reviews the file more carefully. "Mr. Wellington, it says here that when police attempted to pull you over, you didn't stop immediately. You continued driving for several blocks. Why?" "I was trying to find a convenient place to stop. I wasn't going to pull over in the middle of traffic. You drove for 6 blocks before stopping. Like I said, I was looking for a convenient spot. The officer's report states that when he approached your vehicle, you were on your phone, a business call, and you told him to wait until you finished. I was in the middle of an important negotiation. The officer could wait 2 minutes." The courtroom murmurs. This level of entitlement is shocking, even for traffic court. The officer also reports that you refused to provide your license initially, stating you, and I quote, "don't have time for this nonsense." Is that accurate? I was frustrated. It was a waste of my time. A waste of your time to comply with a lawful traffic stop. Your Honor, do you know who I am? There it is, the question that always precedes disaster. I know you're Marcus Wellington, and you're facing serious traffic violations. Beyond that, I don't see how your identity is relevant. I'm the CEO of Tech Vanguard Systems. We employ 400 people in Providence. We contribute millions to the local economy. I think my position is very relevant. Mr. Wellington, in this courtroom, your position as CEO is as relevant as anyone else's job, which is to say, not at all. We're here to address your violations. Marcus's expression hardens. He's not used to being spoken to this way. Judge Caprio pulls up dashcam footage from the police vehicle. Mr. Wellington, let's review the video of the traffic stop. The footage shows Marcus' luxury Mercedes speeding through a residential neighborhood. Kids playing on sidewalks. A woman walking a dog jumps back as Marcus zooms past. When police lights activate, Marcus doesn't slow down. He continues for 6 blocks, eventually pulling over in front of his office building. The officer approaches. Marcus is on his phone. The officer waits. Marcus gestures dismissively. Keep waiting. Finally, after nearly 2 minutes, Marcus hangs up and rolls down his window partway. License and registration, please. Do you know how much that call was worth? Probably more than you make in a year. The courtroom watches in disbelief. Sir, I need your license and registration. Fine. Here. He throws his license at the officer rather than handing it to him. Judge Caprio pauses the video. Mr. Wellington, you threw your license at a police officer. I handed it to him. The video clearly shows you throwing it. That's your interpretation. The courtroom is silent. Judge Caprio speaks carefully. Mr. Wellington, I want to make sure I understand your position. You believe that because you're a CEO, because you're wealthy, because you employ people, you should be exempt from consequences for dangerous driving? I believe context matters, Your Honor. I'm not some reckless teenager. I'm a professional with responsibilities. And those responsibilities justify endangering pedestrians? Nobody was actually endangered. That's dramatic exaggeration. Mr. Wellington, I've been on this bench for decades. I've seen thousands of cases, and I have to tell you, your attitude is one of the most troubling I've encountered. Your Honor, with all due respect, I think you're being overly sensitive. This is a minor traffic violation being blown out of proportion. Minor? You drove nearly 70 in a residential zone. The street was essentially empty. There were children present who were nowhere near my vehicle because they jumped out of the way. Your Honor, you're making this sound like I was trying to hit people. I'm an excellent driver. I had complete control. If you had complete control, why were you going nearly 3 times the speed limit? Because I'm confident in my abilities. Mr. Wellington, let me ask you something. Do you think the rules apply to you? Your Honor, I think the rules were written for average people in average situations. I'm not average. I make split-second decisions worth millions of dollars. I trust my judgment. So, that's a no. You don't think traffic laws apply to you? I think they should be applied with discretion based on who's being cited and the circumstances. Mr. Wellington, you're facing reckless driving charges that carry mandatory license suspension. Given your attitude, your complete lack of remorse, and your belief that you're above the law, I'm inclined to impose the maximum penalty. You can't suspend my license. I already told you I need it for my job. You should have thought about that before you drove recklessly through a neighborhood. This is ridiculous. How much is the fine? I'll pay double right now to end this. This isn't about money, Mr. Wellington. This is about public safety and accountability. I'm being targeted because I'm successful. This is class warfare disguised as justice. No, Mr. Wellington. You're being held accountable because you broke the law and endangered lives. I want to speak to your supervisor. The courtroom gasps. I don't have a supervisor, Mr. Wellington. This is my courtroom. You're on a power trip because some working-class guy in a robe finally gets to tell a successful person what to do. Mr. Wellington, I'm warning you to control your language and attitude. Or what? You'll hold me in contempt? Go ahead. My lawyers will have it overturned before lunch. Judge Caprio stands, the courtroom falls silent. Mr. Wellington, you need to understand something. Your wealth means nothing here. Your position means nothing here. Your lawyers mean nothing here. And that's when Marcus does it. He looks directly at Judge Caprio and raises his middle finger. just holds it there, smirking. The courtroom erupts. Gasps. Shock. People stand in disbelief. Mr. Wellington, did you just make an obscene gesture at me? Yeah, I did. What are you going to do about it? What am I going to do? I'm going to show you exactly what happens when you disrespect this court. You came into this courtroom believing your wealth and position made you special. You've demonstrated contempt, not just for this court, but for public safety, for law enforcement, and for every citizen who follows the law. You drove at dangerous speeds. You ignored police commands. You showed zero remorse. You attempted to bribe your way out of consequences. You insulted this court, and then made an obscene gesture directly at me. Your Honor, I apologize for the gesture. I was frustrated. Your apology is meaningless. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry you're facing consequences. Judge Caprio begins issuing rulings rapid fire. First, for reckless driving at nearly 70 miles per hour in a residential zone, I'm imposing the maximum fine of $2,500. Second, for failure to comply with police commands, an additional $1,000 fine. Third, for contempt of court due to your obscene gesture, an additional $5,000 fine, $8,500 total. Fourth, your driver's license is suspended for 6 months, effective immediately. Fifth, you're ordered to complete 50 hours of community service. Sixth, mandatory traffic safety course. Seventh, the dashcam footage of your traffic stop and this courtroom proceeding will be forwarded to the Providence Police Department. Eighth, the video will be sent to the State Business Licensing Board. You wanted to know if I understand who you are. I do. You're someone who thinks wealth equals immunity. You're someone who endangers others and feels entitled to do so. You told me your position should be relevant in this courtroom. You were right. It makes your behavior worse, not better. Marcus turns to leave. Mr. Wellington, one more thing. You asked if I know who you are. Let me tell you who you are now. You're a man who just threw away his reputation, possibly his career, and definitely 6 months of your freedom to drive, all because you couldn't control your ego for 30 minutes. You came in here believing you were untouchable. You're leaving knowing you're not. That's the only valuable lesson you'll learn today. Don't waste it. Within hours, the video goes viral. By the next morning, national headlines. By noon, Tech Vanguard Systems Board calls an emergency meeting. That afternoon, Marcus Wellington is fired. The board chair meets with Judge Caprio. Your Honor, as of this morning, Marcus Wellington is no longer our CEO. We're establishing an ethics program, traffic safety, community responsibility, respect for authority. We're calling it the Wellington Accountability Program. Named after the man who had none. Exactly. His failure becomes a teaching tool. A retired executive thanks Judge Caprio later. Thank you for showing that wealth doesn't equal worth. I didn't destroy his career. He did that himself. I just made sure there were consequences. Marcus Wellington walked into court worth millions, employed hundreds, and believed he was untouchable. He walked out with his license suspended, career destroyed, and viral infamy as the CEO who gave a judge the finger. Judge Frank Caprio proved once again that no one is above the law, that disrespect has immediate consequences, and that sometimes the most powerful thing a judge can do is simply enforce accountability. This is what happens when entitled wealth meets real authority. When arrogance defeats judgment. And when one middle finger costs a man his multi-million-dollar career. The lesson is simple: respect costs nothing. Disrespect can cost everything.